Have you ever chosen to stay with someone even though they hurt you? You felt he was hurting you, but you couldn't put a name to it. His behavior was inconsistent, sometimes praising you and sometimes ignoring you. The more you loved yourself, the more he criticized you. And you know what's the most painful thing? You thought you were in love with him, but in fact you were caught in an illusion. If what I've just said makes you tingle, you've probably been with a narcissist, or you're still under the influence of one. Because narcissists pretend to love you. They tell you about you, they pretend to have you figured out. But their real goal is to control you, to weaken you, to make you dependent on them. In this video, we'll reveal 8 striking behaviors that indicate you're with a narcissist, and some of them are so insidious that by the time you realize it, you may have already lost yourself. Now listen carefully, because this is not just a relationship video. This may be the beginning of your freedom. 1. Love bombing. At the beginning of the relationship, narcissists target you in an intoxicating way. The excessive attention, the compliments, the shower of gifts, and the constant closeness make you feel like you are in a dream. It's like a fairy tale beginning. It makes you think that everything is perfect and right. Everything is perfect with you, they say. I've never felt this way about anyone in my life, and they emotionally bond you. The surprises, the gifts, the messages at every moment of the day, it all mesmerizes you. But this is the most dangerous part, because for the narcissist, this is not the process of really loving you, but of possessing you. At first, they make you feel like you have found your soul mate, but then they quickly pull you into their world to control you. You feel so extremely special and valuable that it seems as if the only purpose of the universe is to make you happy. But the truth is quickly revealed. When the bombardment of love is over, what is left is coldness, criticism, and distance. You realize that everything has changed in an instant. The person who used to praise you to the skies now makes you feel inadequate all the time. This forces you to try even harder. And then, without realizing it, you start to lose your own value. Because the narcissist takes you over piece by piece. He offers love as a reward, but this reward is meant to manipulate you. In the beginning, when they say they love you for who you are, they actually trap you in their world. If love is healthy, it grows slowly, but manipulation suddenly envelops you and takes control of you. 2. Devaluation period. After the fairy tale world of the beginning of the relationship, everything starts to change. The narcissist, who at first praised you to the skies and made you feel so special and unique, suddenly starts to ignore and devalue you. When the love bombardment is over, the intense attention and praise that was initially shown to you is replaced by harsh criticism and belittling. Sometimes this process is so subtle and slow that it can be hard to understand what is going on. Everything was perfect in the beginning, but now it is time to throw you away. This is the period of devaluation. The initial fascination and attention is suddenly gone. The person who used to idealize every aspect of you now blames you for even small mistakes. They belittle your thoughts and feelings. The person who was once proud of you and admired you now turns into someone who criticizes your every move. He says that everything is wrong, that everything has gone wrong because of you. Even your existence starts to feel like a burden. That person who was so impressive and attentive suddenly starts to behave like a stranger. One of the sentences you will often hear during this period may be, "Why are you so emotional?" Or another common condescending expression, "It's really hard to argue with you." You are made to feel as if your feelings, your needs, and emotions are completely invalid. The person who once thought you were wonderful now starts to see you as a surplus. He or she feels so superior that he or she magnifies your every mistake, implying that everything about you is wrong. This kind of behavior puts you in a constant critical mood. This is a powerful technique the narcissist uses to manipulate and emotionally control you. For example, perhaps at the beginning of your relationship, you often heard the phrase, "You are perfect." But now that person is constantly criticizing you to be better. You start to question your own worth because the narcissist takes every opportunity to put you down. You're overdoing it, or "Someone like you shouldn't do that," are phrases that slowly melt you down from the inside. And even worse, the narcissist always argues that he is right in this process. He does not accept criticism in any way and tries to make you vulnerable in every situation. The narcissist's strategy to devalue you is to trap you emotionally. The old person who made you feel special is replaced by someone who makes you feel like you are lacking in every way. This is a kind of gaslighting, a mental manipulation that distances you from your own reality. Now you feel as if you have never been enough. You feel like you are constantly making mistakes not only with yourself but also in your relationship with the narcissist. This wears you down internally. The devaluation period is actually a tactic used by the narcissist to completely control you, to dominate your emotional balance. The narcissist is not afraid of losing you because he sees you as his personal manipulation tool. The moment you start to feel your own worth, they start a new game to make you feel special again. They will try to prevent you from finding your inner value, your inner strength. 3. Gaslighting. Gaslighting is one of the most dangerous manipulation tactics of narcissists because it is aimed at making you completely question your perception of reality. At first, everything seems normal, but after a while, the narcissist starts to deny what he or she is telling you and starts to distort things. The aim of this process is to play with your mental equilibrium and somehow get you out of control and serve his wants and needs. "You remember wrongly," "I never said that," or "it's your imagination," are common phrases. They make you doubt your own memory and perceptions. You start to question what something is, how it developed, even what you think it is. In the beginning, there may be a small difference in recall, but over time the narcissist drives you into greater inner chaos with such denials. Gaslighting really makes you face the question, are you going crazy? Because you start to question the veracity of what you are being told, of the experiences you are having. You experience a kind of mental confusion and you start remembering things as the narcissist says. This not only makes you think that you are misremembering him, but it also makes you feel the power that he will have over everything that is said. Let's illustrate this with a concrete example. Let's say the narcissist criticized you in a somewhat hurtful way one evening. The next day, when you remind him of this conversation, he tells you, "I never said that. You're making it up." This kind of behavior destabilizes you mentally. He starts playing with your own perceptions and memory, undermining reality so deeply that you end up trusting him. The narcissist manipulates reality to create his or her own truth, and eventually you become completely alienated from your truth. It's a process that you have to be really careful with because gaslighting makes you feel responsible. It makes you feel guilty all the time. The narcissist is mentally manipulating you and destroying your inner strength and confidence. When you realize this, you may feel devastated, unsure of what you know is right. This is where you need to find the courage to stand up for your truth. 4. Hot-cold pattern. Another basic tactic in dealing with narcissists is the hot-cold cycle. This cycle keeps you in a constant state of mental and emotional roller coaster, making you not want to let him go. The hot-cold cycle creates emotional instability and forces you to constantly move closer and further away from him. One day he gives you endless attention and you feel special above all else. Whatever emotional need you have, he fulfills it in that moment. He tells you, "I will be with you forever." He says things like, "Everything is so good with you. Everything seems perfect just like in the beginning." For a while, everything goes well, the feeling of trust is well established. But the next day, these feelings suddenly disappear. Sometimes he gives you the cold shoulder, sometimes he starts to belittle you in a way you never expected. With the hot-cold cycle, the narcissist is constantly emotionally monitoring and manipulating you. The person who tells you that he loves you very much one day and implies that he cannot forget you, the next day he treats you coldly and almost excludes you. One day he sees you as the love of his life. The next day you feel worthless and insignificant. This kind of behavior confuses you mentally so much that you start to constantly hope for a better day. That better day is always there, but it is not clear when things will be good or bad. The hot-cold cycle is a way of keeping you connected to the narcissist. On the one hand, he lavishes you with all kinds of attention. On the other hand, he lowers you. He humiliates you. But why? Because it leaves you needing him more and more each time. The good days give you hope for the future of the relationship, while the bad days force you to try harder to get to him. Every up and down in this cycle makes you more dependent on him. Eventually, the idea of ending the relationship is undermined by the manipulation of the narcissist who constantly makes you feel cold. The main danger in this cycle is that you are constantly waiting for those hot days when you are always showered with love and praise. On that good day, the attention and compliments are a ray of hope for you. But every bad day keeps you one step further in his grasp. No matter how messy and complicated it is, the good days tie you to him even more. Finding this balance between good and bad creates a kind of addiction. You don't know when it ends and when it starts again. In the end, the narcissist controls you completely, keeping you in a kind of emotional slavery. The hot-cold cycle eliminates emotional stability in relationships. It leaves you always searching. On those hot days, you feel that he has won you back, that you have him. But on the cold days, you feel that you have lost him. This makes you always dependent on him. Eventually, you get so used to this cycle that you start putting more effort and putting up with it more to get to the good days. As a result, the hot-cold cycle is a strategy by which the narcissist is constantly manipulating you according to his needs. This fluctuation between good and bad can never bring you into balance, because the narcissist manipulates you by playing with your moods and takes complete control of you in this cycle. 5. Trauma bond. The trauma bond is one of the most destructive but also one of the most complex aspects of relationships with narcissists. A narcissist can wear you down emotionally and mentally, while at the same time pulling you back into the relationship by showing you good times for a very small amount of time. This cycle, like a drug, keeps you hooked. When you are mistreated, at first you recognize the pain and the hurt, but then you attach yourself to it again, just to get a little attention and praise in between the bad days. In the beginning, it shocks you when the narcissist belittles you or cheats on you in some way, but over time, these bad behaviors force you to think about leaving or ending the relationship. But here come the good days. A few kind words, a few smiles, and you are drawn back into his arms. He can make you love him again, impress you with his warm behavior. Slowly, you begin to accept his bullying and mistreatment, because at the end of it all, those good days seduce you again. This is the trauma bond. It wears you down mentally and emotionally. It confronts you with thoughts that try to push you away from both him and the relationship, but he understands well. He pulls you back into it. You start to rationalize the abuse in some way. This shows how the narcissist manipulates you, leaving you in an internal conflict. On the one hand, you have his cold and hurtful behavior, and on the other, you have the tiny crumbs of attention he shows you. You constantly hope that good days will come. You brush off his behavior with excuses like, "He's busy working, that's why he's acting this way," or "He's just going through a difficult time." You ignore the really bad behavior and devote yourself more and more to him to make him forgive you. Because this trauma bond makes you so attached that you become emotionally dependent on him. You become alienated from yourself, and this is where the most dangerous thing begins. The narcissist has drawn you into his or her world to such an extent that your own emotional needs and values become secondary. In the hope that the bad days will pass, you let every bad behavior of the narcissist pass, and sometimes you stay in the relationship without even noticing the bad sides of the narcissist. Every day you feel a little more stuck, but every day you feel a little more attached to him or to her because those good days keep pulling you back. The narcissist turns you into an addict with a trauma bond. Each favor, each warm moment makes you one step more dependent on him, which pulls you back to him every time you have doubts that force you to get rid of him. Eventually, you are mentally and emotionally enveloped by this bond, and each good day makes you more and more dependent. This relationship will go on, and you will be stuck in this vicious circle without realizing how much more you will lose. 6. Abandonment threats. One of the most common manipulation techniques narcissists use is to control the relationship by threatening to leave. This tactic is used to corner you emotionally, to prevent you from speaking out in any way. When you show him/her wrong about something or point out his/her behavior to his/her face, the narcissist deepens your fears. He psychologically manipulates you by using your fears and emotional weaknesses. The threat of abandonment not only frightens you, but also prevents you from defending yourself. If the narcissist criticizes you in a narcissistic way and you respond in kind, he immediately threatens to leave you. These threats are often very powerful because they hurt you emotionally by blending them with reality. I told you something, but you don't understand me. Or if you don't fix this, I will leave you. These threats create pressure for you to withdraw, to be quieter and calmer. And it is at this point that you realize how fragile everything really is. The fear of abandonment forces you to behave the way the narcissist wants you to behave. He uses these threats to corner you on everything, to punish you every time you make a mistake. He makes himself appear to have some kind of power while undermining your confidence and emotional stability. In fact, over time, these threats affect you so much that you start to choose your every step carefully. Because the fear of abandonment is the narcissist's most effective weapon to control your behavior. They are a serious show of control over the relationship. Threats of abandonment make you resist less, apologize more for every mistake, because with every threat you become afraid that he will actually leave you. It creates the emotional pressure that he is right and you are wrong. And eventually you start to put up with him more and more. This psychologically intimidates you and gives the narcissist more control. 7. Withdrawal tactic. Even if you have decided to end the relationship, the narcissist will use various tactics to lure you back like a magnet. This is an extension of the narcissist's desire to possess and control. Hoovering is a manipulation tactic to suck you back after the relationship ends. As soon as you end the relationship, the narcissist will go to any lengths to lure you back. He becomes defensive. He tries to convince you. He tries to trap you for fear of losing you. This technique, like a vacuum pulling you in, rewraps you emotionally and re-strengthens the bonds in the relationship. At first, you receive apologetic messages. "Forgive me, I really don't want to lose you," he writes, grabbing you by the heart. Then come romantic surprises, references to old memories, nostalgic reminders. With sentences like, "Do you remember how happy we were on our first date?" He pulls you back to the good memories of the past. He promises that everything is fine, that everything will go back to the way it was. The goal is to get you emotionally attached to him again. In doing so, the narcissist tries to make you admire him or her again. Sometimes he magnifies the slightest mistake by constantly blaming you. But at the point when you think it's all over, the narcissist takes action once again to control you. The tools he uses to do this include love, pain, the past, and often apologies to make you feel some kind of forgiveness. The worst part is that the narcissist only wants one thing from you: control. And in order to regain that control, he manipulates you with the pullback tactic. Each time he tries to lure you back into that old bond, he slowly begins to emotionally defeat you. If a relationship has ended and the narcissist is trying to lure you back into the relationship by reminding you of good memories from the past, this is where hoovering comes in. This keeps you stuck both emotionally and mentally. Over time, the narcissist's withdrawal tactic manipulates you and causes him to regain control. 8. Lack of empathy and guilt tripping. One of the most obvious characteristics of narcissists is their lack of empathy. They are insensitive to the feelings of others and therefore are not even aware of their behavior that hurts, upsets, or puts you in a difficult situation. No matter what situation you are in, they only care about themselves. When you are upset or emotionally exhausted, they don't understand. Worse, they ignore your emotional pain and make you feel even worse. They belittle your emotional state with phrases like, "You're exaggerating," or "You don't need to make such a big deal out of it." They don't see their own harm and mistakes and are completely insensitive to your emotional needs. Narcissists' lack of empathy makes them even more dangerous. Because when you face a problem or somehow experience a moment of emotional distress, they immediately turn it into an opportunity to put pressure on you. They make you feel guilty by making your feelings meaningless. They manipulate you psychologically by saying things like, "I had a bad day, that's why I acted this way." Or, "If you weren't so sensitive, these things wouldn't happen." You are always to blame because the narcissist never understands you. He only sees you as a figure in his own little world. If you mention a problem, he immediately says that you are exaggerating the problem. Your emotional needs are ignored and everything is used to blame you. When you have an argument or a crisis, the narcissist blames you without seeing their own mistakes. The lack of empathy leads them not only to not understand you, but also to emotionally batter you. This almost destroys your emotional health. Lack of empathy and guilt tripping are a way for the narcissist to exert control over you. They make you question yourself. You start questioning whether every action is right, whether every emotion is valid. In the end, you feel even more guilty because you try to justify their behavior. This damages not only the narcissist's emotional apathy towards you, but also your self-confidence. And that's why it's so important to recognize if you start to have moments in a relationship where you feel manipulated, belittled, or guilty all the time. Narcissist tactics can destroy you emotionally, but your strength and awareness is the key to removing yourself from the game. Remember, no one determines your worth. Your worth is already within you. If a relationship is constantly pushing and breaking you, it is time to let it go. True love makes you a better person. It doesn't drag you down. Value yourself and prioritize your own health and happiness. Because the person who loves you the most is the person who loves themselves first. If you are listening to it now, you needed to hear it. So share this video with someone you love and support their spiritual growth too. Send a strong signal to the universe by writing, "I choose inner peace" in the comments. Remember, what you think will happen to you. See you in the next video.